Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of CV School. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Ryujo, the Tier 6 Japanese carrier. As you can see from the matchmaking here, it is not friendly at all. We are bottom tiered. Two Clevelands on the enemy team and Otago, North Carolina. This is going to be a difficult game. So, what's different about the Ryujo compared to the Hosho? Well, no longer stuck dropping one torp per drop. That's handy. Got a few more radar planes, or excuse me, a few more rocket planes. Other than that, I think you're going to find it very similar. Planes get a little beefier once you get them upgraded. So, taking a look at this match, my goals here initially, there is only one DD. I do want to try to focus on him as much as possible, but I also want to get some spotting out for the team. I know I'm really not going to be effective doing damage for a while, and that's just due to the nature of the AA I'm facing. Yamagi and the Fuso out here. Kind of like to start focusing that Fuso, but Cleveland. Don't really want to get any closer than I have to in his AA. Now, the Icarus here, smoking up, trying to defend himself. Smoked a little early, I hadn't spotted him yet, but he's doing what he can to stay alive. That's a smart play to make. That is not typical of what I see a lot of DDs doing this tier. Did he turn around here to see if I could have baited him out of his smoke, flying off? Maybe he's just going to keep moving ahead. Got a York next to him, and yeah, he was trying to sneak out of his smoke, but he's retreating back to safety. Rather than stay in the area, I decided to go off and do a little more scouting. See what we can figure out. One thing I found the later portion of the video was I actually didn't have any modules equipped on the Ryujo for this video. So I do have all the upgrades as far as upgraded planes and hull and such, but I didn't have any modules equipped. So that's kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. Turn around to get back out of that fighter squadron. Come back around and see if I can find that Icarus. I know he's going to want to poke up. I know he's going to want to push out. Smoke's down. He's got to be around here somewhere. And there he is. A little bit of chip damage in on him. The rocket damage is pretty decent. It certainly doesn't compare to the upgraded USN rockets that USC will get later. You do have 28 millimeters of penetration, which will be more than enough to get through any DD, as well as the superstructures and surface ships and most carriers you will face. Revere in here, dropping deep water torps on a DD. Maybe he was hoping the York was going to poke out there, I don't know. Our other CV is trying to focus the DD as well. Taking some pretty noticeable AA damage here from the York. Lion, I believe, finishes off that squadron. So looking at the mini-map, the Fuso is still kind of an appealing target. He's out there on the flank by himself. We don't know for sure where the Cleveland is right now. My intent here was to go and see if I could drop that Fuso. Being bottom tiered like this, tell you the Yamagi does have very strong AA. When going after them with tier 6 planes. So this game is slow for a while. As far as the damage, it's not too impressive. But you have to do what you can do. You're probably the best use of my time while the ships are spaced out the way they are. This Cleveland's doing a good job of staying in the AA, keeping his AA aura around these battleships, and it's making it very difficult for me to really have any kind of impact. See the south flank, my team is retreating, and they're intending to push on the north. My hope here is to try to at least keep this Cleveland lit up a little bit. Maybe we draw some fire into him to make this a little bit easier. Again, we have AP dive bombers, which are not particularly effective against DDs. You're only going to overpen. I guess I shouldn't say only. The likelihood of you doing penetration damage to a DD is going to be kind of a freak thing. So, using AP dive bombers against DDs isn't going to do anything damage-wise. My idea here, I want to keep this Icarus spotted as much as I can and just generally kind of harass him. If I can keep him lit up, I'm going to make him a little bit nervous. You go in for a drop here on this Otago. Healing out the A a little bit. And we do manage to do some really nice damage there. 2 citadels on the Otago. Now the problem is with all the ships that are up here, there's really no good direction to drop that Otago and not fly into a bunch of AA. We call the squadron, get some torpedo bombers in the air. Still see that Fuso. He's still attempting target. But looking at the minimap, I don't really have a lot of options to go for right now, other than the DD. Attacking the Otago, I'm going to go over the islands and fly right into the AA of that Lion and the Amagi. Try to torp the Icarus, but 2 torps in the water against the DD is a difficult drop to make. Not impossible, but it's difficult. I know the Cleveland's still lurking around over here somewhere. Fought the DD again. I think, did I drop the fighter here? Yeah. Drop the fighter consumable, try to keep him lit. Team is still pushing north. There's no one left on this flank right now, other than myself and another CV. Cleveland has isolated himself far enough away from Fuso, I'm able to get in and get some damage on him. So if you notice here, I'm slowing down as much as possible by holding the S key and healing around to get another drop. If you stay inside the range of the long-range aura, you can avoid dealing with that flak. You're still going to be taking the continuous damage, but you're not going to have to worry about that flak hitting you. Unfortunately, we don't get any floods. We do get a couple more torpedo hits. And my intent here is to head out with the dive bombers. Try to get some damage on the Fuso, but that Icarus is getting awful close to our base. So I recall the dive bombers, get the rocket planes in the air, try to dissuade him. At this point, our Helen has turned around, our Hipper. They've decided to defend the base instead of just running north to the rest of the fleet. I want to try to keep this Icarus lit up as much as I can. Lexington does manage to take out the Fuso. See if we can finish this guy off. Rocket hits there. Got the last 1500 or so HP. And I want to try to get a fire on this target. Lexington's in trouble. He hasn't paid too particular attention to his positioning. I'm doing what I can to help save him, but this AA is It's no joke. I'm hurting for aircraft pretty bad at this point.
Returning to ship. Airborne.
Lexington's gonna go down here. Yep, he's gone. So now we've still got our cruisers defending the base. Attacking that Cleveland is a suicide mission.
Destination reached.
And I don't think I'm going to be able to get on this Otago without sacrificing my squad to do it. Getting him off the map will definitely be helpful, as it'll slow down that Cleveland's push. So right now we're sitting at about 36k, not doing too bad damage-wise. Northern part of our team has pushed into a giant ball of ships and taken themselves out of the game.
Taking fire.
This is going to be a very difficult one to try to claw back. Bottom tier like this, you're really not going to have the ability to take ships off the map. Do the damage you could otherwise do top tier. I'm just trying to play as a deterrent. Early on when I was harassing that Icarus, I wasn't going to kill him. I don't have enough damage to take him off the map. I can't do anything with that Cleveland and make him just go away. But planes are in the area. If I can light him up, I can slow his push by, obviously, my team taking shots at him.
Fighter airborne. Autopilot.
And that's really how you have to look at it when you're bottom tier, facing much higher tier AA. You're not going to have those opportunities to just freely fly around and go attack a battleship somewhere. At this point, I decided to try to scout north a little bit, see if I can maybe get this Amagi on fire, and follow up with a torpedo attack. He does have support of ways behind him, taking a pretty good amount of AA damage. We do get a fire. My idea here is to get out as soon as I can. I notice he immediately damaged Khan, because I want to get torpedo bombers on the way. I am backing the CV out and starting to move her south. I do have enough time to get turned around and get out of here before I'm hard detected. As forward of a position as I can be without risking the ship. Limit my flight time. See if we can get a flood on this guy while his damage control's down. He's got support from his carriers, dropping fighters. That AA is decent planes. At this point, I decide I might as well try to get a flood. Might be able to get one torpedo in the water before the squadron goes down.
Returning. We're under attack.
Dive bombers coming after the CV, not terribly worried about that. We do end up missing that torp. And again here, I'm sacrificing planes, but I'm just trying to turn these guys around. Trying to delay as much as I can. I am in the AA of the Cleveland and the Amagi. Drop off. No Citadel. But that drop there into that much AA cost me all my planes. I'm certainly not complaining about AA being too strong by saying that. That was not a drop that I expected to bring a lot of aircraft back from. Just trying to play that deterrent role. Had our Lexington stayed alive, made a pretty big difference here, as he's much more able to deal with that AA than I am.
The enemy team is taking
Trying to
the
provide
lead.
as much vision as I can to the remaining ships we have. This game's not likely to end in a win. I don't know where the Cleveland is. Trying to figure out which way he's gone as he retreated.
We're under attack.
And there he is. Immediately parked behind an island. Nothing whatsoever to shoot at, other than me. Trade a plane for the knowledge.
Returning.
Or two.
Airborne.
How do you carry a game like this when you're bottom tier? Well, you don't. As you can tell by the positioning of the opposing team, they're not going out alone.
Engaging enemy.
They're staying with a buddy. And really they're playing the way you need to play to protect yourself as much as you can from CV attack. Still able to make attacks, yeah.
Returning to ship.
But
We're under attack.
I'm not able to leverage my ability to cause floods, because I'm limited to pretty much one attack. At this point, it's just pretty much cleanup, trying to farm as much damage as I can. We're not going to pull back a win here. Augie does manage to take out the Cleveland, so I decide to give this Amagi another go with my bombs. Now you'll note I only have a half a squad. I only got 3 planes. And I've seen some discussion about, well, I can just send partial squadrons and I don't risk all of my planes. That's true. You got a lot fewer HP to get through that AA to make the drop. And you can see there, 3 full health planes isn't enough to get through an Amagi.
Maintaining present course.
Never going to make it. I don't recommend a strategy where you bomb the ocean on the way. You only go in with a couple planes. The likelihood of getting the drop off is significantly less, and you're just throwing them in the trap. It's better to go in with a full squad if you can get an attack off, or at least get that attack off, and try to salvage as many planes afterwards as you can. Here I'm using this island as cover protection from AA. Once I get behind it, should be out of his AA bubble. I had to go in for another attack, try to get a fire going. And you have two torpedo bombers left. If you get a fire, we might be able to force out a flood. But again, this is just delay tactic.
Returning to ship. We're under
Arming
attack.
damage and delay.
Airborne.
As you can see with the CV positioning, eventually I'm going to get trapped in the corner if the game lasts that long. But I am staying just with a little bit of a buffer to stay out of their vision.
Taking fire. Approaching target. Destination reached.
Turning in on this drop, I dropped kind of close there. I don't really think those are going to arm in time.
Airborne.
He does turn in, catches one before it arms.
Autopilot mode enabled.
So, overall, taking a look at this video, this replay, bottom tier, the goals are get damage where you can,
Taking fire.
help your team as much as you can, and focus on your spot. Where you're going to get your damage, use that to focus on the ships that are pushing, that break themselves away from the pack, that you can attack within reason. Keep going after this lion because given the option between him and the Amagi, he had lower AA, I was more likely to get through there. So the game ends, we end up doing just shy of 60k damage. Overall pretty good as far as that goes, considering what we were up against AA wise. We do end up top of the team for experience. Looking at damage there, we spread the love around, right? But we did lose a lot of aircraft, and we paid for it at the end, right? We weren't able to put up squadrons that could even get through the AA of the ships we were attacking overall. So much for the unlimited planes that we hear mentioned quite often. So taking a look at the setup I run for the Ryujo, we'll start with Captain Kirk's. Basic 10-point setup, air supremacy, improved engines, aircraft armor, side stabilization. That's the base 10 points you're going to run for any CV. Following this up, my next skill is going to be survivability expert. Adds about 9 or 10% HP at tier 6. So that's definitely a noticeable amount of additional hit points for your squadrons. After that, probably take improved engine boost, followed by last gasp, and then moving on, concealment expert. One other possible option you could take instead of concealment expert, you could go with torpedo acceleration and adrenaline rush. I'm not as big of a fan of that build as I am running concealment. The torpedo acceleration, as I've said before, yes, it makes your torpedoes faster. However, it also gives you a longer arming distance, causing you to drop further away. So the speed kind of balances that out, right? The torpedoes are getting there quicker, so they shouldn't have as much time to maneuver. However, the other side of the coin, you're dropping from farther away, giving them more time to maneuver. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's not just something for nothing. Adrenaline rush with the speed boost. As your planes are more damaged, they're going to fly faster. I've played maybe a dozen or so games with this. I haven't appreciably noticed the difference in speed, but that is another option for you there. Moving on to modules, I did notice after I played that game when I went to go record this section that I didn't have any upgrades on my Ryujo. So the game you just saw was with no upgrades whatsoever. But standard standard carrier loadout, I mean there's nothing really different here. Speed of aircraft returning to the carrier 20% helps you get a full squadron back in the air if you're not losing all your planes per strike. Aircraft engines mod 1 gives you a little more boost. These two are subjective, it's up to you. I like the attack time on the torpedo bombers because it allows me to start my run farther out. Say there's an island in between myself and the ship I'm attacking. I can get farther away, come in without being spotted, without being hit by AA, pop up over the island, make my attack, get out. It gives you a few more options that you don't have. Same can be said for attack aircraft mod if you would prefer to have 2 more seconds on your rocket planes. I value that on the torpedo bombers more. Your last slot, I run Torp Bomber mod 2. Gives me a little more HP on the torpedo bomber squadron. case could also be made for the dive bombers or the rocket planes as well. This is more personal preference. However, I feel having the stronger torpedo bombers, as that's typically your main source of damage, probably the best route to go. Moving on, signal flags. Really not a lot of options for CVs. I don't even run signal flags on the Ryujo, but Julia Whiskies, higher chance of flooding. As far as I know, this affects carriers and airdrop torpedoes. I would recommend running that one. And from there, it's economic flags and special flags are really the only ones that are going to do much of anything for you. Reload time of consumables, you make a case for that, another 5%, but that's really not going to be noticeable. Consumables are automated on the carrier anyways. Ship max speed, not so much. And I guess if you did want to boost your AA on the carrier itself, you could run November Echoes, but not a whole lot of options there. Well, that's all we have for the Ryujo. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you would like to see some more, please like and subscribe. Up next, we'll be taking a look at the US Tier 6 Ranger. Have a great day.